One, two. Recording in progress. Okay, so it's supposed to be recording now. Okay, I can start. Or you want to start?
Go ahead. Or it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Okay, why does Mark I don't know if it's mention, I don't know,
Yeah, I think it's just mansion.
mention, said about the self-control is an illusion. So I believe that he said that mainly if we take in count the first case about the guy who lost his emotions and that he had many problems, because we everybody thinks that because you have negative thoughts or because you think a lot of things and you control yourself, you're doing good. But it's whatever the society or the people who taught you something has taught you like to believe. So whenever you're stopping or you have self-control about something, it's not necessarily because you're stopping yourself doing something good or and he listed many examples like drug addicts, obese people, um,
Yeah.
alcoholic, and I don't remember the other examples that society is agree of like of with them self-controlling, if that makes sense, but like with CEOs not seeing their family or being aggressive with their people and all that. So we see one of them being good because he's working because he's a CEO, and the other people because they're doing bad. So I think that's why he said he's an illusion because he's more about perspective, not because it's actually like a powerful tool that we can all use.
Yeah. Also, when he talks about the brain procedure, I think it's a lobotomy, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they did the procedure, the people would lose all of their emotions. So it's yeah, if they can do a procedure, I don't know, that doesn't make sense. That he says it's an illusion, but when there was a part of the brain that was removed, then they lost it. So I don't know if I agree with them in that sense. Because why would people lose all these feelings when it's an all illusion? Or is it like the placebo where they think they're losing it? Because I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in that actual scenario, I think they actually took a part of the brain that feels.
Yeah.
So it's not like an illusion or anything. Like it's like because a procedure was made.
Yeah.
But I don't think people without procedures can be like completely like that. I don't know.
Yeah. And when that guy, well, I forget his name, but every time he went through something, I think it just changed his illusion at the moment that eventually that he just didn't feel things the same because he had been through so much that he just couldn't feel it anymore. It's an
Yeah,
interesting concept. I don't know if I completely agree, but it makes I understand it, but I have some questions.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So you want to cover the emotional problems?
Um, sure. So hmm, I don't know exactly like a list of four emotional problems, but he did mention a lot of when he was talking about the guy, I don't know, I forget his name, but the main guy was talking at the beginning. He stated a lot of the emotional problems that that guy went through when he lost his job, when also he went to different psychiatrists, and the one finally that um was testing him in a different way than the other ones were. He would show them like different pictures of really terrible things, like murder scenes or really horrific images. And every time, whether it was guilt, shame, sadness, he just wouldn't feel it. And he even, the participant or the guy even said himself, like he understands why he should be feeling those, but he's not, which is interesting because he understands why people might think that these images are kind of make these feel people feel these emotions, but not to him. So I guess that kind of goes back to why um you're it's an illusion, because if one person can feel it and someone else can't, then it's that person's illusion and not yours. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
Uh, um, let me just read the question.
And then the two types of brain and what are the differences? That
Yeah,
was
he talks about the consciousness part, that we have two brains,
um,
the thinking and the
and
feeling brain, where
the yeah, emotional and the thinking and the
mhm,
consciences, which
and
well, that's kind of three.
then about the thinking, it says that it's very conscient, it's very rational, uh, but it's very slow because it gets tired, so or fatigued. So it's when the other brain comes out, the feeling brain, that is just more automatic. It's more effortless, inaccurate, irrational. It's just those irrational thinkings. Um, that they just come out to your brain. It reminded me about like the Freud book about
Mm-hmm.
the ego, superego, and like all that, like those examples. But yeah, basically those are the two parts of the brain that he mentions.
Yeah, he also mentioned that the two are always kind of fighting against each other, so that's why we're kind of messed up, I guess,
Yeah.
which kind of makes sense. But he
Hmm.
also mentioned that when you try and change one of them, like the new age phenomenon that he said that you can just all of a sudden change a habit or change a mindset. Like it's not really that as easy as people think because they're not considering both sides of the thinking and the emotional and emotion part of it and the consciousness.
Hmm.
And I just thought that was interesting, but 100% makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then yeah, I think those are those he said.
Hmm.
And I don't know, his examples of how to kind of cure it were, I don't know, it didn't make sense to me because he's like, oh, you just say this, tell this part of your brain to do that, and the other part, like you're like, I don't know, it didn't make sense that you talk to it when it's your brain. You can't really like have two sides of your brain. I don't know how you consciously get two parts of your brain to communicate when it's your brain. So I don't know. It was interesting. It would be interesting, but I don't know.
Yeah,
So
it's really interesting. I think the brain is very complex, and I mean,
yeah.
that it can actually happen because it's very complex and it's very well developed. So
Okay.
finally, you want to go first on question four, or I go first?
Go ahead.
About myself that I wish I could control, but you cannot. I personally, I think I get irritated very easily. Um, Especially when I have a lot of stress, I just get irritated by everything. Well, not everything, but like easily, you know. Like if I'm stressed and then something falls on my hands, I'll just get like irritated, you know. Or
Yeah.
people who's, I mean, when I'm at work and I'm not in a good mood, and people it's like rude or mean or whatever, I don't answer them in a bad way, but in my head, I'm just like wholly like irritated, and I think I could control that better, but I don't know. Even if I don't express it, like other people don't recognize what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
In my brain is very, I get very tired because of it.
Yeah. I think if I could change something like about I don't know if it's like personality wise or like the way you think, but I probably would really want to change how I process my emotions. I feel like I have the opposite of where I use my thinking way more than I use my emotional side of my brain. And I feel like I could work on that more and be more empathetic not as judgmental or cynical. And I
Mm,
just feel like I need to be more open to seeing and understanding people's emotions because I feel like I'm not compassionate and as empathetic as I should be.
oh,
Mm.
okay.
I think that would help in maybe like relationships more with other people, being able to understand instead of just
Yeah.
being one-sided. And yeah, I think that
Okay.
would be
You want to add anything else?
no.
Okay. So I'll just stop the recording now.
Okay.